You may have been given hypothyroid supplements, or you may be on conventional hypothyroid medication, and thus may be giving you that feeling that the energy is coming back into your life, and you may feel that you're returning to a sense of normalcy with these supplements or perhaps even the conventional medication. But none of this really addresses the underlying root cause of these symptoms of hypothyroidism. And perhaps if you've been on these medications or supplements for prolonged periods of time, you find that they often stop working, or you need to increase the dosages of these in order to be able to just sustain yourself. What I intend to cover with this video is to look at the natural solutions. How can we naturally overcome this condition of hypothyroidism? And I want to focus on three particular aspects that I think are so vital and can really make a very profound difference in your experience with this condition. Now, I'm talking mostly from my own experience, having had these symptoms of hypothyroidism, but I really want to focus in on these three particular aspects that have helped me in terms of overcoming the need to be dependent on a lot of these supplements. I did make a previous video where I talked about the symptoms that I felt while having this condition, and I'm going to link that video right above me. So if you're interested in understanding the symptoms that I faced or encountered with this situation of hypothyroidism, please do check that video out. So with that, let's delve right into it. Now, one of the things that I found to be so impactful and can make a huge difference in terms of your experience with hypothyroidism is to incorporate some sort of pranayama or breathwork practice into your life. And it doesn't need to be something that is very complicated. It can be as simple as taking those deep inhalations followed by slightly longer exhalations. If you can take it through your nose, all the better, because there's something about breathing through the nose that can make such a huge effect in terms of the way in which your body absorbs the energy and air. There's a book by James Nestor which talks about breath, and that will give you such a better understanding in terms of how breathing through the nose can help with our energy levels as well as maintaining our health. Now, if you can do this breathwork practice outside and get clean, fresh air, all the better. I love to do it outdoors while taking a hike out in nature and just focusing on taking those deep inhalations followed by those slightly longer exhalations. Something which I think can make a profound difference, because one of the symptoms that I've noticed with hypothyroid, or at least that I've experienced, is my breath tends to become very shallow and I'm just not getting enough oxygen into my system. So trying to be more mindful of your breath throughout the day can also help in terms of managing these symptoms and just becoming more aware of when you're not taking those deeper breaths or your breath is becoming excessively shallow. The second aspect that I want to cover is the diet. Now, diet can play a profound effect because essentially we're getting energy from our food, and if we're consuming mostly processed packaged foods as well as a lot of these processed sugars, they can tend to sap our energy away. We may feel that sense of immediate stimulation from these foods, especially if you're resorting to stimulants like coffee and processed sugars to try and give you that initial boost of energy. Those aren't really helping a lot because they are stimulants and they leave you feeling flat afterwards. So they'll give you this initial bump in energy only to leave you drained thereafter. So things you want to stay away from is all your processed foods, your coffees, your stimulants, alcohol, processed sugars. Try and aim for more whole natural food diet. I found that being mostly on vegetables tends to be much better. However, if you can have fruits that are not excessively sweet, those can also be quite well sustained without giving you that sugar high and then dropping you down. However, when it comes to consuming these whole foods, ideally you don't want to go onto a fully raw diet, because a lot of these raw foods can leave you feeling more cold. So they bring more of that sense of coolness into your body. So if you are living in a climate which is cold, then during the winter and fall months, you probably want to try and avoid these raw foods, or consuming a diet that is primarily based on raw foods. I tried this out, it didn't work well for me. It might work for some people, but ideally you want to try and focus on trying to bring much more of those warmer, steamed, lightly cooked foods, vegetables into your diet. Something that I found really helpful is to try and make a lot of vegetable broths or soups, and try and add a lot of the warming spices. So think of spices like ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. Try and bring those spices or add those spices to a lot of the broths or soups that you're making, because that will bring that sense of warmth into your body. And it's also whole foods, so these whole foods tend to be more nourishing and much more, they bring much more energy into your system versus a lot of the packaged products that are often dead and they have no vibrancy. The third and final aspect is trying to incorporate some sort of exercise practice. Now, I know this may sound controversial, and I'm not talking about doing some crazy exercises where you exhausting yourself out. I'm talking about trying to have some sort of moderate exercise that you can sustain. Ideally, what you want to do is get your body moving, because as your body moves, more energy flows into it. By being in a very lethargic state, it's not bringing in enough energy. Even if it's taking brisk walks, focusing on the breath at the same time, it's another opportunity to incorporate more of the breath work as part of this practice. Now, doing weights and doing a lot of strength training might not be that effective. I tried those and I struggled with those. So what I've generally tried to focus on is trying to do a lot of cardio activities. Maybe it's taking brisk walks outside, going for a jog, very slow jog, something that you can manage. You're not trying to overexert. However, you are trying to pick up your heart rate, as well as focus on taking in as much breath as you can and focus on the breathing. Cycling can also be good. You don't have to go very fast. Trying to do something that you can sustain and slowly build up to it. It's not something that I initially got up there and just done 10 kilometers. It's like working your way slowly, even if it's only 500 meters that you can do. And each day trying to build those incremental improvements in the distance or whatever it is that activity that you're doing, but not doing it all at once, trying to build up incrementally, and that can have quite a huge effect in terms of helping you manage the symptoms of hypothyroid. So hopefully these were helpful. There are other aspects I'll cover in future videos. I'll also get into the different schools of thoughts when it comes to what are the underlying factors that cause these symptoms of hypothyroidism. With that, if you have any comments or want me to cover any other areas, please do drop it down in the comment section below. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.